Let me tell you a story about a friend of mine. There's a guy named Philip Franklin Lee, who is a Michelin star chef that lives in Austin, and he has this amazing sushi restaurant, Sushi by Scratch, and great chef. Anyway, he was experiencing fatigue, like always tired, got his hormones tested, extremely low testosterone, but then got his microplastics tested, and they were off the charts. Did a series of interventions to try to clean his body out from that, stopped drinking anything out of plastic, stopped using plastic. Just by whatever he did, I'm not sure if he did the plasmapheresis thing that I just did recently. Yeah. His testosterone went up to 1,200 with no testosterone replacement, no nothing. Just eliminating microplastics from his life over a period of time raises testosterone.
So Joe Rogan just shared a story that perfectly captures the hidden health crisis poisoning America right now. His friend's testosterone skyrocketed to 1,200 just by eliminating microplastics. No hormone therapy needed. We're breaking down the shocking evidence about how everyday plastics are destroying our fertility, energy, and health.
There is certainly an issue, like I said with my friend Philip, that it made a radical difference in his sperm count and his testosterone levels. And so this is probably the case with so many Americans in this country that are dealing with infertility issues. A big part of it is probably these plasticizers. Is that how you refer to them?
Yeah.
Plasticizers, all these various chemicals that are endocrine disruptors that are ubiquitous in the modern world.
The data backs this up completely. Sperm counts in Western men have dropped 59% since 1973. Testosterone levels are plummeting 1% per year. Meanwhile, endocrine disruptors like phthalates literally hijack hormone production, blocking testosterone synthesis and mimicking estrogen in the body.
And I had not known until you brought it up, until you became a guest on the show, until I started researching it. I was stunned. I couldn't believe that this was something that was so common. And so one of the things that comes up all the time is infertility with couples that are trying and they're using IVF, and it's more common now than ever before. And there's been a lot of things that a lot of factors that people have attributed to that reason. A lot of them being older people that are, they put their careers aside in their 30s. They decided now it's time to have kids. They're worried that it's too late. But listening to you talk about it, it seems like that's only one part of the issue and not the big part. The big part seems to be that we're being poisoned, and we're doing it by virtue of our modern world that we live in, where so much of your life relies on plastic. And it's very difficult for people that are so set in their ways, they have routines, they don't really understand, like, what can I do to eliminate this stuff from my life? Just having the conversation and understanding that these things are having an impact is great, but the steps that people need to take in order to eliminate these things from their life, I think that's what's really important to get out there now.
This media silence isn't accidental. The plastics industry spends millions lobbying to suppress this research. Major news outlets depend on pharmaceutical advertising revenue, companies that profit from treating the symptoms these chemicals cause. It's a perfect storm of corporate interests silencing public health.
There is a river, I believe it's in China, where a series of blue jean factories exist, where the entire river is blue. It's so disgusting. Like, not blue like beautiful clean water. Blue dye.
Dyed water.
Look at this. Look at that.
Oh.
That's the blue jean capital of the world.
Wow.
That's where they make a lot of blue jeans. And look at the stinky, dirty, disgusting blue dye water that is just that river leaking out into the ocean, which also looks polluted.
Those clothing dyes don't just pollute rivers, they're absorbed directly through your skin. Fast fashion garments contain formaldehyde, heavy metals, and azo dyes that disrupt hormones. Every time you wear those cheap jeans, you're getting a dose of endocrine disruptors.
This has actually been documented in wild alligators. Males in heavily polluted lakes have, on average, smaller penises and other reproductive problems linked to hormone-disrupting chemicals. We are shrinking alligator penises, ladies and gentlemen.
And not only alligator
20 to
penises.
25% smaller penis sizes compared to males from a cleaner reference lake. Males of lower testosterone levels, around 70% lower, Abnormal relationships between hormone levels and penis growth, unlike alligators from cleaner lakes. Alligators from polluted lakes also show other reproductive issues, abnormal sex hormone patterns, altered gonads, low hatching success, various birth defects, all consistent with exposure to endocrine disrupting contaminants, EDCs, such as DDT derivatives, dieldrin, PCBs, and related compounds. Wow. So it's all endocrine disruptors from pollution.
This alligator study is the smoking gun. These aren't exotic industrial chemicals. DDT derivatives and PCBs are in everyday products like food packaging and electronics. If these compounds are shrinking alligator reproductive organs, imagine what they're doing to humans exposed at similar levels.
Well, I mean, it completely makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is how little attention that's being paid. You would think that in a society that is, America is also facing a potential population collapse. People don't think about that, but our reproduction numbers, we're not reproducing. Yeah, they're down quite a bit, and they're not at the level that we need in order to keep our population.
America's birth rate hit a historic low of 1.66 children per woman in 2023, well below the 2.1 replacement rate. South Korea and Japan face demographic collapse at 0.8 and 1.3 respectively. Yet governments focus on immigration policy while ignoring the chemical sterilization happening in real time.
You're not drinking your coffee out of paper. And how terrible these things are for you. But even that, it's like people just dismiss it. The line around Starbucks is always the same. There's always people going to get their coffee. They don't think anything of it. And they're just consuming these chemicals that mess up your health, mess up your vitality, your energy levels, everything, brain fog.
But whose responsibility is it, you know?
Well, to talk about it, I think it's ours. It's certainly
You and
yours
me,
and
or-
mine. And, well, we'll spread this word and more people discuss it. And I think more people need to be aware that this directly impacts you. Like, this is not like in the future, I don't have to think about it, I'll be dead. No, it directly impacts your health, your energy levels, your vitality right now as a living human being listening to this show.
The hot liquid makes it exponentially worse. Heat accelerates plastic leaching by up to 55 times. People know smoking kills, but still do it. With microplastics, most don't even know they're being poisoned. That daily Starbucks run is delivering a hormone-disrupting cocktail every morning.
That's what's crazy. You know, that this should be a huge factor. I mean, we get concerned with so many, there's people concerned with alcohol consumption. It's a big thing, and that has had an impact. Children today, or young adults, I should say, today are consuming much less alcohol than people in the past. Cigarette smoking, we're aware, very dangerous. Much less cigarette smoking than in the past. The consumption of these endocrine disrupting chemicals is essentially the same as when we talked 5 years ago.
Big Tobacco had billions in revenue. The global plastics industry generates $600 billion annually and touches every sector of the economy. Unlike cigarettes, you can't just quit plastic. It's embedded in our entire infrastructure. The economic incentive to suppress this information is massive.
Well, I'm sure somebody will reach out.
Yeah.
They usually do. The thing that I would imagine would be the response to something like this was that there are so many industries that are established already that require the use of all these compounds, all these chemicals, all these endocrine disrupting chemicals. And it's just everywhere. It's everywhere in everything. They use plastic in the production of so many different things. These things are leaching into our food, they're leaching into our clothes, they're leaching into all these various products that we use that contribute to these chemicals entering into our body, disrupting that. You're aware of glyphosate, I'm sure. They were trying to eliminate glyphosate.
Plastic production is set to triple by 2050. The industry employs millions globally and underpins everything from medical devices to food packaging. Admitting widespread health damage would trigger lawsuits dwarfing the tobacco settlements. The financial stakes make meaningful regulation nearly impossible.
Exactly. Well, the president passed an executive order blocking it because some enormous percent, 90-something percent of all of our food, in terms of wheat, corn, all the agriculture in this country relies on glyphosate for production. And so the idea is we need poison so that we can make food, which is so crazy, especially when you consider the fact that all these other countries don't use glyphosate and feed their population. So how are they doing it,
Right.
and what do we need to do
Right.
to get back on that track? And I had RFK Jr. in here to discuss it, and he was very crestfallen when he was explaining that there was an executive order passed and that he was working very hard to try to eliminate glyphosate. In something that he discussed in previous meetings that he and I had, that was one of his primary concerns.
Even Trump, who appointed RFK Jr. partly on health reform promises, caved to agribusiness lobbying on glyphosate. The same pattern repeats with plastics. Campaign promises about health get crushed by corporate pressure once in office. Industry capture of regulatory agencies is nearly complete.
It should make sense.
And with their taint, no.
And their taint, yeah. A lot of taint problems. A lot of people are complaining. But it's so weird that we're so intelligent and so informed, and now we all have supercomputers in our pockets that have access to things like Perplexity that can answer any questions you have about anything. But yet we're being poisoned by the very food that we eat, the coffee that we drink, the clothing that we wear,
The water we drink.
the water we drink, everything.
We have instant access to more information than any generation in history, yet we're sicker than ever. Information without political power to act on it is just entertainment. The system profits from keeping us informed, but powerless to change the poisoning.
You think, oh, I'm going to go catch a fish from a lake. This is going to
So
be really
healthy,
healthy.
yeah.
It's right from nature. No, we've ruined lakes. Yeah. What is the issue? Put this in. What is the issue with eating fish from freshwater lakes in America? What are the health issues?
Health issues, yeah.
Eating fish from freshwater lakes in America. We've looked this up before. It's kind of stunning how much chemicals you get from a single fish that you would catch. So if you catch a trout from, a regular lake, you go to a lake, it looks clean. I can see the bottom. Everything's fine. No, it's bad for you.
For thousands of years, catching fish meant guaranteed healthy protein. Now, bioaccumulation has turned freshwater fish into toxic waste. These chemicals concentrate as they move up the food chain. A single contaminated fish can contain chemicals from thousands of contaminated organisms below it.
I think this has to be done on an individual level where people are aware of it and take steps to protect themselves and their family from these issues. That's my cynical view of how this is going to be played out. And I'm really hoping, I know for a fact a lot of people listened to our last conversation and made some lifestyle changes. I'm really hoping that now, with this follow-up visit, more and more people will be aware of it.
And watching the movie.
Yes, and watching the movie.
He's absolutely right about government inaction. Trump promised to drain the swamp, but just started another war with Iran while ignoring corporate poisoning at home. Individual action creates market demand for safer alternatives. Consumer pressure is often more powerful than broken regulatory systems.
Especially polyester fleece, recycled polyester fast fashion, and PFAS-coated water stain repellent outerwear and activewear. Polyester fleece jackets, blankets, loungewear, extremely high microfiber shedding. One study found that polyester fleece shedding orders of magnitude more fibers per wash than other knits, which estimates around 110,000 fibers per garment per wash. This is both bad for environmental plastic pollution and for indoor dust.
This is why independent voices like his matter so much. Unlike mainstream media tied to pharmaceutical advertising, he can actually expose these industries without financial consequences. These conversations are literally saving lives by driving awareness that forces industry response.